Hello, check. I hope I could be heard clearly.
Yeah, good.
Hi.
Hi.
Let me just change my background. All right. And What time is it? I'll be back for a while, alright?
Hello, check. 1, 2, check. Hello, check. All right.
FB.
So, hello everyone, and welcome to today's session. Is my voice audible?
Yes. Oh, hello. Yes, you are.
Okay, okay. So myself, I'm Fatima from Java. So we are having a wonderful session today with our president Jane April, who is a educator, edtech advocate, and Microsoft Education Ambassador. So I welcome you, Jade, from my side and the participant side. So over to you.
Hello, everyone. Good afternoon or good morning to your side of the planet. So, here in the Philippines, it's noontime. So, it's 12 noon. And I'm happy to be here with you. And let me just navigate my slide as I'm talking to you guys. And I would like to say thank you to Strava for having me here with you guys. It's nice to have this kind of opportunity to be able to share to you my training and what I know about Microsoft Azure fundamentals.
Yes,
And
Pooja. Stay in the known, turn on the desktop
and
notification.
I would also like to say thank you if I may mention that without iTrain Asia, I would not be able to have my certification in Microsoft Azure, specifically in AI 900. So let's start over. Let's jump right in to Microsoft Azure AI fundamentals, getting started with artificial intelligence. And I believe that all of us, whether we have experienced it or we have observed it, or really we're keen observers, we have actually been to have experienced artificial intelligence wherever we go. And also with the gadgets or the devices that we used every day. And yes, I am Jade April, and I believe that we learn together and we build each other. So, moving forward, what is artificial intelligence? We have experienced artificial intelligence if ever we are using Microsoft PowerPoint. I bet all of us are. Or maybe you're using other platforms. But in Microsoft PowerPoint, we have what we call design ideas, and that's an example of artificial intelligence. And later we'll dive deeper on how artificial intelligence can be related to design ideas in PowerPoint. So in PowerPoint, as you could see, that you have pictures on the slide, and at the same time, if I may get my pen, all right. And at the same time, when you have the pictures there, it on the right side, it automatically being arranged by design ideas, or some design ideas are being suggested to you. Moving forward, we also have some applications that we use in our cell phones that we use to capture text or extract text from a picture, which an example that you see here. I'm using Microsoft Lens, which you can download in Microsoft. You can download in Play Store or in Google Store. But I believe in Windows 10, I'm not quite sure if it's still around, but I believe there were some concerns there, so you could download it in your phone. I'm using it in my phone to capture documents, especially documents that we use. And also, Microsoft Lens has their speech to text, which is also all of this are under artificial intelligence. Next, if you are using OneNote or if you are familiar with OneNote, we also have the ink to text. This is mostly used in math assignments or in math formulas, but you could also use it if in non-math. So what you're going to do is you're just going to write the formula as you can see there on the picture on the screen, and then you're going to do the lasso effect or the lasso select, and then automatically at the right side, you could see that the correct formula is being written there, and you just choose that formula, and then automatically your formula gets to be like typewritten or encoded, not like the handwritten that we have when you do the ink. So all of these examples are under artificial intelligence. Now in healthcare, we also have AI in healthcare. If I may click this one, and I hope they could see it there. So Microsoft has is also focusing on transforming healthcare, and they have also their cloud system, and everything that perhaps that they have studied or researched, it goes directly to the cloud, And if ever there are like similar diseases that they have seen, automatically the AI system would go back like years backward and would try to check the difference or there similarities. So hopefully that this AI system would also help in determining um, the root cause, or not the root cause, but also the prevention of another pandemic happening in the near future. So let's go back. All right. So let's talk about artificial intelligence and what is it? So artificial intelligence is the creation of software that imitates human behaviors and capabilities. Let me just make that bigger. I think this is all right. Next, we have the key elements of AI. We have quite a few. So we have machine learning, we have anomaly detection, we have computer vision, we have the NLP, which is my favorite, or the natural language processing, and we also have the conversational AI. Every day, or as we use our gadgets, we are actually using this. So let's dive in first to machine learning. So we have machine learning. So this is often the foundation of the AI system because this is where we teach or train our models to make predictions and to draw conclusions from the data that we put in the system. And data scientists use all this data to train the machine and also to get learning models that can make or infer predictions or inferences based on the relationship they find in the data. So let me just click on here, if I may move forward. I'm sorry. Let me just go back to my screen. All right. So I'll just click this one here. So I'm going to show you, um, if you have not been yet to Microsoft Learn, then you can go jump right into Microsoft Learn and learn more about Microsoft AI or Azure, or if you just want to prepare yourself for certifications that you want to pursue in the near future, then Microsoft Learn can help you out. So going back to introduction of machine learning. So this is all about machine learning. So machine learning is for people with little or no knowledge of computer science and also for statistics. So you'll be introduced to a lot of concepts, or you would be able to explore data and interactively go and practice and how to train your models. So this is um, a course that you will take in Microsoft Learn. And at the end of the course, you could also be directed to another course which is related either to machine learning or connected to AI. All right, just the same. So let me go forward. So let's have an example of machine learning. So for example, that there are a group of botanists or maybe a group of people loving plants. What they're going to do is they're going to collect data on wildflower samples. If not wildflower samples, you could go collect data of different flowers around your community, and you're going to put samples of the correct species to train them. You label this data and you process them using an algorithm. And you could also find relationships between the features of the samples and the labeled species. So if ever that you will find a similar plant in the future, this algorithm will be able to identify if this flower or this plant is related to the other flowers or the other species of plants that you put in or you have used to train your model. So example here is this. I have tried one of this plant identification wherein you have to take a picture of your plant and then it will identify what kind of plant that is. Or if you have a plant which has like a withered leaves, so you take a picture of that leaves, it will identify what kind of plant that is, and then it will also identify what's wrong with the plant. Maybe it needs water, it needs more sunlight, it needs more oxygen, or it needs fertilizer, or it needs some other vitamins that would help um, make your plant look healthier. So this is an example of machine learning wherein you put all data of different kinds of plants, and in the long run it will, because of the algorithm there, because of the training that you did with the models, it will identify same species or genome of the plants. Because I'm not a botanist, but that's how machine learning does. That's where you put in your data, and that's wherein you train your models. Moving forward, we have the yield. Yield is a organization, if that's a correct word, that is based in Australia, wherein they use machine learning in order for them to be able to track uh, the weather of the, because Australia really have some different kinds, has it's heat and windy, so they have to check the weather. So they are using machine learning in order for them to be able to have a 7-day weather forecast, and to be able for the farmers to be able to know that in the following days it's going to be windy, or it's going to be sunny, or it's going to be um, hot. So I'm just going to click that here, and we're just going to erase a part there. So the yield, if you want to learn more on how the yield uses machine learning on how to feed the world without wrecking the planet, so you just head on to this site, or later, if I could share my slides to you. So what they do is they apply analytics and predictive modeling to create a 7-day weather forecast for a farmer specific microclimate. So what they do is they try to predict the moisture, the leaf wetness, light, wind, and rain using machine learning, and also for AI. So I am not quite sure if I believe some other countries are using this, if not in your country, but here in the Philippines, I have not yet heard that there is a farming facility, or there is a organization that uses AI to predict the weather. We just what farmers usually do is we just listen to we have the weather forecast. We have the DOSC, or Department of Science and Technology, which tells us about the incoming weather. So Philippines is tropical. We have different kinds of weather in different areas in the Philippines, in different islands. So in every places in the Philippines, so there are different weathers. So machine learning or prediction of weather forecast using AI system is not yet been applied. But if it's applied there in your city or in your country, then that's great. Maybe we could learn from you, but that's how we use machine learning. Now, a while ago, I shown to you the key elements of machine learning, and one of the samples there in the first part was about Microsoft PowerPoint. If you're using Microsoft PowerPoint 365 or Office 2019, which they should go together, Microsoft 365, and when you download the Office, you have Office 2019. If it's only Office 2019, it does not get the patch updates coming from the cloud or Office 365. So my slides are moving on its own. All right. So in PowerPoint design, Azure is being used, or Azure Machine Learning enables PowerPoint Designer, wherein whatever you put in your PowerPoint, it gives a suggestion on whatever design that you can take, which makes your work easier as a presenter or even as a student. And it actually makes your own graph. It gives a color of your graph. So that is an example of machine learning uh, applied in PowerPoint design. However, since technology is not perfect, as we I think you would agree with that. What they do in the team, in the PowerPoint designer team, is if ever that they have, for example, we have a logo here. So we have a cow, we have animals here. And if ever that the user or the end user, the client, would not agree or would want to change this icon over here because it does not actually represent, or he or she does not feel that this totally represents a cow, or the icon does not totally represents a cow, you could click the side, you could click the picture, and I wish I could show that here. You could click the picture, and then suggestions of other icons of cow would come out. And once you click a new icon, it automatically sends a message to the system that this icon could also represent a cow. So we have like a real time interaction with the AI system. So yearly or like every day, because Microsoft PowerPoint or Microsoft itself has hundreds of millions of users. So every time a user changes this icon coming from the design ideas, you have a real time interaction with the AI system, telling them that this icon could also represent the cow, or this icon could also represent this word that you place here in the algorithm. So that is Microsoft Azure in PowerPoint design. So if we click that here, so the screenshot came from here. So how Azure Machine Learning enables PowerPoint Designer. So we are still in machine learning. So they make predictions on what your design would be. You just placed in a lot of pictures, and then on the right side, the design is would come out. Of course, it should be connected to the internet for this design idea to come out. And this is how, if we make it bigger, and this is how machine learning is applied in PowerPoint design. So from here, you change the icon, it goes to PowerPoint design. It's been analyzed already. So whatever picture, whatever content that you place in your slides, it's going to be analyzed. Then it goes directly to their models or Azure Machine Learning. It's going to be studied, and every time that you click a new icon, they're going to assess it and they're going to understand it. That, as I said, this icon could represent the photo or could represent the word that has been placed there. So that's an example of machine learning. All right. So that is a simple explanation of machine learning. After that, machine learning, we have anomaly detection. So anomaly detection is based technique that analyzes data over time and identifies unusual changes. Sorry. So usually, in Microsoft Azure, the anomaly detector provides an API, or the application programming interface, that developers can use to create anomaly detection solutions. So where do we use anomaly detection? So this one came also from Microsoft Learn. So if we play that, that should play straight. So let me just click that. All right. So as you can see, the car from the first second video or shot, it was running smoothly. Then somewhere it ran and it stopped, then it ran again. So when the time the car stopped, that was the time that the detection or the anomaly was detected. So it is now designed that this car should be running smoothly or straight, but when it stopped, that is where it should be detected. And that is where that your machine should be trained to check. So moving forward, So this is an artificial intelligence technique used to determine whether values in a series are within expected parameters. So everything should be great when suddenly something gets wrong in the process, so that is where it should be detected. And that how should your model should be trained to detect the anomalies or something is not right within the process. So let me check that. So still in Microsoft Learn, you could go and move forward there to understand anomaly detection. This was the same car, the car scenario that we watched in the slide. So to explain, the car has a sensor which collects telemetry such as engine revolutions, the brake, the speed, the temperature, and so on. Now, on the second part, the anomaly detection model is trained to understand expected fluctuations in the telemetry measurements over time. So it's trained to check what's wrong within the movement of the car. So on the third part, if a measurement occurs outside the normal expected range, so the model reports that there is something wrong or there is an anomaly that can be used to alert the racer or the race engineers and to call the driver to stop and to fix whatever is wrong. So that is anomaly detection. So we have to fix the issue, and sometimes it anomaly detection could also be used when in the hospitals, if you're attached to some machines and your blood pressure goes up and down, or sometimes it goes down. So the machine detects that something is wrong, and automatically there could be an alarm maybe in the nurse station telling you that there's something wrong. So for example, if I may share a personal experience that my uncle had a heart bypass, so nobody's allowed to be in the room. So they put like um, a gadget here that checks the heartbeat. So when it was moved, an alarm was sent to the nurse station that something was wrong. All right, so the nurse went directly to the room of my uncle and they checked, but the machine, which I don't know what you call that one, that you place it here in the finger to check the heartbeat. So it was just taken out because he was moving. So that's like an example of anomaly detection because it cannot anymore detect the normal heartbeat because it was taken out. So that's a sample that we have in hospitals. And hopefully all hospitals around the globe would have that so that fast action from the doctors and the nurse and would save lives too. So in Microsoft Azure, anomaly detector service provides an application API. I said that already. So simply, it's just going to detect what's wrong within the system or what's wrong within the trained model. So that is anomaly detection. Moving back. So we have computer vision. So computer vision is an area of AI that deals with visual processing, which is also one of the things that I love. So software systems are designed to perceive the world visually through cameras, images, and video. So we all have that here sometimes. Now, because of COVID-19, I think we are all familiar that they have these machines that would check your temperature, they would check there are facial recognitions. So they take data from us through these cameras. Example are in the airports or even our malls right now. We have these machines that would check your temperature. So if your temperature is suspicious enough, they would not let you in the mall. So that's example of computer vision. So very simple, right? But it's helpful for us right now and also helpful for our health. So if you click that in, still, if we go to Microsoft Azure, I would want you to read more in Microsoft Azure and you get experience points. I believe all of us. If not, you could go right in and learn more about artificial intelligence and computer vision here in this site. All right. So I think this is not it. All right. So let's dive into the elements of computer vision models and capabilities. So there is a work wherein what you're going to do is you're just going to label um, whatever you see on the screen, and that's part of computer vision, which I tried. So whatever I see on the screen, I just name them. So like example that you see here, so it's a taxi. If you want to be more specific, you would write yellow taxi. So under computer vision, we have image classification. So simply put, you're going to classify whatever you see on the screen, and you're going to train the machine learning model to classify each images based on their contents, right? So for example, here, as you can see, you might use an image classification model to classify images based on the type of vehicle containing such as taxis, buses, cyclists, and so on. So if ever you work in the security system, or here, if I may share, so what we do is we just identify what this is, and the model, we identify it, and then it's going to be part of the algorithm. For example, this yellow car is a taxi, or we simply put yellow taxi. So we just classify the images that we see. So that's part of computer vision. Another one is we detect objects, or object detection, which is also part of computer vision. So computer object detection, machine learning models are trained to classify individual objects within an image. And what you're going to do is there are bounding boxes here. And with that bounding boxes, you're going to label them. So for this red boxes, all of them are buses. So all should be of the same color, so that the model that you train will have the same, uh, we train them on the same way that all the red boxes will be a bus. So the blue one should be a car, and the green one should be a cyclist. So we identify their location with a bounding box. And here that we have security cameras, sometimes automatically when they see that there's a vehicle here, they would just identify it as a bus. So it's bounded by a red box. So that is in the security system here. If I'm actually here in my area. Now we also have semantic segmentation, also under computer vision. So semantic segmentation is an advanced machine learning technique in which individuals pixels in the image are classified according to the object to which they belong. Okay, so for example, as you can see here, a traffic monitoring solution might overlay traffic images with mask layers to highlight different vehicles using specific colors. So a while ago, what we do was we just put them in a bounding box here. We put them in a bounding box and just label it as a bus. But this one here, we use the pixels, which individual pixels in the image are classified, so that we would identify them correctly as they are buses or they are cars. So if it becomes red, all of them are buses. So if it becomes blue, all of them are car. And if they are green, they are cyclists. So there are no bounding boxes for semantic segmentation, but you just the whole vehicle or the whole object will be colored on whatever color is been assigned to them, or how we train our model. Next one is image analysis, still under computer vision. So you could see in the picture that it's been identified that a person with a drug on the street. So you can create solutions that combine machine learning models with advanced image analysis techniques to extract information from images. So we tag them that could help catalog the image, or even descriptive captions that summarize a scene from the shown image. So this is quite everything that we do in AI is, like we say, sensitive, or we must be careful. So if we tag this in a different way, so we are training our model in also a different way. So we have to be like honest. Later we'll talk about responsible AI. So what you see in the screen, you should tag it as is. So a person with a dog on the street. So you don't put anything else because that's how you want your model to be trained. So that's part of image analysis. Next one is face detection, analysis, and recognition. So if simply put it, when you take a picture in your camera or in your laptop, we have that bounding box that it will detect where your face is, or sometimes when you're in a group picture, so it will detect how many faces there are in the screen so that all of us will be placed in one screen. So there are cell phones or devices that are like that. So all of us will be on the same screen. No one gets out of the picture. So that's an example of face detection, analysis, and recognition. But in AI, in the more serious note of AI, this could also be used to detect um, some concerns like in criminal justice or missing person. It depends on how the model was trained. But for this one, so object detection locates human faces in an image. This can be combined with classification of facial geometry, analysis technique in details such as age, emotional state, and even recognize individuals based on their facial features. So we have that app. I just forgot what name is it. That if you smile, it would also detect that you're smiling. But of course, it depends on how your model was trained. But under computer vision, it's very possible right now in AI that you could detect the age, at the age range, whatever the person is feeling in the emotional state, or even maybe the culture or the race of the person. Next one is we have the OCR or optical character recognition. It's the same with what I've shown a while ago in Microsoft Lens that we have OCR. In OneNote for Windows 10, we also have the optical character recognition. You take a picture of the whole, if there is a picture, an image with some words on it, take a picture of it, and then when you right click, just click OCR, and the only thing that you would get are the text from the picture. So it's easy, right? So that's also part of computer vision and in our AI system. So optical character recognition is a technique used to detect and read text in images, which is very helpful for our differently abled brothers and sisters. So we could use OCR to read text in photographs, and road signs perhaps, or exact information from a scanned document. So in Microsoft Lens, you could do this. You take a picture of the document, and then you could extract the text, and the text you could send it through a messaging app perhaps, and the the picture or the image that is not included anymore, right? Only the text. So I love OCR. It really helps me as an educator, and also maybe for working professionals because you don't need to type everything what you see. So next one, in computer vision services in Microsoft Azure. So we have the services below. So and these are the cognitive services that will help us create a computer vision solution. So the number one is computer vision. So this will help us analyze images and videos and extract descriptions, tag objects and text. We also have the custom vision. This is where we train the custom image classification and object detection models using our own images. Example, if you I have worked before, like there are pictures of a banana. So everything that we see, as long as there are bananas, we type in bananas. All right. If there's a dog, regardless of the breed, so we put dog. So that's part of custom vision. Now for face, the face service enables you to build a face detection and facial recognition solutions. So maybe uh, in a group, if you take a picture, then you're going to detect who is a celebrity here or who is not a celebrity. So that's a big thing, right? It's a tedious thing to do because they have to train your model that all of this are actors and actresses. But also, you could do that in computer vision, right? So we also have form recognizer, which is also in Microsoft Lens. You could use this to extract information from scanned forms and invoices. So it's helpful for us professionals if we have this one. So try to use Microsoft Lens. Sorry. Now, still in computer vision, which is I am also an advocate of persons with different able persons, especially children who are in the field of autism. This would be helpful for them. So seeing AI, but this one is only available in the App Store and in the iPad. But it's an example how Microsoft would be able to help our differently abled brothers and sisters who would want to use the app and to help them navigate around the city or navigate within, have a normal life just by using the app. So let's go and check it out. I'm just going to close this. So this Seeing AI is an app which is only available in the App Store for iPhone and iPad. But if you're using Android phones, there are a lot of Seeing AI apps or visual apps that you could see in Android phones, which would also function the same way. So if the person, for example, this is your camera or your cell phone, so the person is just going to hold on to the camera and then it's going to read whatever is there on the box. Or it could recognize people, the smile perhaps, okay? And it would describe the facial expression, like Fatima is smiling at you. It could also help you scan barcodes. And at the same time, it could also help you um, determine currency. Let me just clear my throat.
Jade, I think we can hear you.
Oh, hello.
Yeah,
Let me
yeah.
check. All right. I'm sorry for that. So there was, I was saying, there was a project made by a student wherein it does not actually does this three, but it only um, determines the currency, but it only determines the currency in dollars. So I have not used this Seeing AI yet, and I'm not quite sure if it determines other currencies or identifies other currencies, but it does this way, but it determines currencies. Now for this one, it helps you read or it reads whatever you take a picture of. But if ever that we cannot access the Seeing AI, which is just an example, as I said, there are other AI applications for the blind or for um, to have those to have some vision concerns. There are other apps out there that would also function well, but still, these are example of computer vision. So what it does, if we'll just try to read, so in order for us to deep dive in computer vision, so Seeing AI is a free app that narrates the world around you. So basically, we're just going to try to check. So it uses voiceover, which helps you to recognize short text, documents, so products, which scan barcodes. So this is a lot of work of training in your model. So it identifies people, the faces, that you could recognize them, the scenes, the currency, and it also identifies colors, the handwriting, and the light, which generates audible tone corresponding to the brightness of the surroundings, and images and other apps. So this is how Seeing AI works. So this is also under Microsoft, but also only available in the App Store. All right. So moving forward. So that was computer vision. Now let's move forward to NLP, or natural language processing. Let me just check my battery. All right. So NLP, or natural language processing, is the area of AI that deals with creating software and that would understand written and spoken language. So in NLP, you could create software that can analyze and interpret text in documents, email, and other sources, interpret spoken language, and synthesize speech responses. It could also automatically translate spoken or written phrases between languages, and also it interpret commands and determine appropriate action. So for example, since we're using now PowerPoint, so PowerPoint has what we call the translate. If ever that we have an audience or we have a group of people who might be able to fully understand English, then they could just use narrator, sorry, translator, and so that it could translate whatever I'm saying into their language. And also in PowerPoint, for example, this whatever I'm doing here, I could interpret it into a different language. So that is also in NLP. So it's mostly in PowerPoint and Microsoft Word. In Excel, we don't have that yet because we don't usually use a lot of words in Excel. But in Microsoft Word and PowerPoint, we could translate one word or one paragraph to a different language. So that belongs to NLP. So NLP creates, I think we're done here. So here, so NLP enables you to create a software that can, yes, analyze and interpret documents, interpret spoken language, and automatically translate spoken or written words, or it could also interpret commands. And in NLP, we have the following services and its capabilities. So we have text analytics. This is used to analyze text, documents, and extract key phrases or detect entities such as places, dates, and people, and evaluate sentiment. Um, this one in text analytics, for example, I'm not sure if it's alright to say a different platform or if a different company, but there is that we use in the internet that also in um, like Grammarly, for example, may I just say that we also have LMS that we integrated in Teams wherein it would tell the audience or it will tell the client or the student, perhaps let's say the student, that he whatever he or she is writing sounds professional, it sounds a bit awkward, it doesn't sound professional enough. So we have that one in Microsoft Word. It checks whatever you've written there, so it checks how positive or negative what you have written there. We have translator text. As I said, we also have that one in Microsoft Word and in Microsoft PowerPoint. It translates text between more than 60 languages. For speech, we also have that here in PowerPoint and also in Word, wherein this app is called Dictate. You could just say what you want to say and automatically Dictate will type in or show into the screen whatever you are saying. And we have Lewis. So language understanding intelligence service. So Lewis is in Microsoft. It's a service to train our language model that can understand spoken or text-based commands, which is also used for our chatbots. So Lewis is the culprit of all. All right. So speaking of chatbots, we have conversational AI. So conversational AI is a term used to describe a solution where AI agents participate in conversations with humans. So chatbots, for example, so chatbots now are everywhere. So in different messaging platforms, online selling, there are chatbots there. So if ever that a chatbot cannot anymore answer, because of course everything is limited, or we need to train more our model. So there is intervention usually by an agent, but most of the time, um, you go with the chatbot first. So if you're, for example, in my experience that I have um, in my exam with Microsoft Azure and AI 102, uh, we had a chatbot first. And when there is a need for troubleshooting, so an agent would intervene. But usually, it's the chatbot. So bots can be basis for AI solutions for the following. So it's uses for customer support for products or services like the online selling that we have, online shopping, healthcare consultations and self-diagnosis, and reservation systems for restaurants, airlines, cinemas, any uh, offices that needs to have appointments, home automation, and personal digital assistants. So in conversational AI, our chatbots could be a Q&A maker, or we could be a Q&A maker, or we could have the Azure bot service. For the Q&A maker, we use the cognitive service, which enables us to quickly build a knowledge base of questions and answers, and that can form a basis of a dialogue between the two. It should be like when I ask a question, so you should be able to answer, our chatbot should be able to answer that question. In Azure Bot Services provides a platform for creating, publishing, and managing bots. Developers can use the bot framework to create a bot and manage it, and they could put the questions there, and also Lewis, and it will connect to channels for web chat, email, Microsoft Teams, and others. So a while ago, so we have the AI show, Microsoft AI show. If you would want to watch that, uh, if you made a chatbot, then you could use it across different products in Microsoft, because we have the Microsoft Chatbot ID, Microsoft ID, if that's correct, wherein it knows whatever products that you are using within Microsoft. So if you have a chatbot, then you could use it across these bots, because of Lewis, of course, and yes, it connects to channels for web chat, email, Microsoft Teams, and others because of that Microsoft ID that we have. So I would just like to show you, and I believe we are all familiar with chatbots. So we have the Azure Health Bot, but there are some limitations on what it could answer. So we're going to try a demo of an example. For example, we are the end user. All right. So we're just going to type in. For example, we type in hi, and that should be able to answer you how. Hi, how can I help you? Which is should work out that way. And we could ask, how are you? So it's going to answer again, I'm great, thanks for asking. It's also like Cortana, if you're familiar with that. I believe you are. So we could answer questions with Cortana and even tell her what to do. You could even ask her some personal questions. However, in this chatbot, there are things that it could not answer. Like, let's say, what is my blood type? Let's see if it answers. And if not, it would answer this way. So I'm here to help answers, help with questions. You can ask me things like, so it's going to give you um, sample questions that would help also the chatbot answer you, or it would help you it would help you get the correct message across. All right. How much for glucose test? So if it cannot answer, it will just say, sorry, it seems I can't answer this. So that's how example lab chatbot is. So basically, what our demo here is that it should be able to answer whatever you're typing in. It doesn't really have to answer correctly, but it should be able to respond to whatever you type in the chat box. So that is like the basics of um, chatbots or the bots. All right. So we have covered the key elements of AI. So we have machine learning, computer vision, natural language processing, and conversational AI. This is just the basics of AI under Microsoft Azure, but AI also have its risks. So we have to embrace that technology is not perfect because it's only us human who does the intervention, who does the training of the models. So of course, everything has its risk, and we should be responsible with whatever how we train our models. So these are just example of the risks or the challenges that our AI system are facing. So we could have the bias or bias can affect results. So example, a loan approved model discriminates by gender due to bias in the data with which it was trained. So for example, we have an online system of getting a loan or getting a work in the tech field. So when you type in, I'm a data scientist, I'm a data analyst, I'm female. And here comes another person. I'm a data scientist or a data analyst, I'm a male. So the model was trained to get all males. And the model was just trained to get, let's say, four females. All right. But just as an example, because we are talking about gender biases here, right? So, or if there are also people who would not prefer to say their gender, or maybe they are binary, and your model was trained not to get people who are in this community. So, bias can also affect results. So, next one is errors may cause harm. So, an autonomous vehicle experiences a system failure and causes a collision. So, this is sometimes in self-driving cars, but I have not tried one. I'm not sure if I would want to try one, but maybe who knows? We could be able to do so. So, for example, there's a system failure. So, we have cars here that are self-driving, but usually, in my experience, they don't trust that one because here in the Philippines, we have wide roads, but we also have heavy traffic. So if you do the self-driving car or you let your car drive on its own, so that's quite challenging, right? So and people also like passing by, we don't really have those in some cities, right? But there are some areas here in the Philippines that we don't have this pedestrian lane, so people just come jump across the street, so that's quite difficult also. So data could be exposed. A medical diagnostic bot is trained using effective patient data, which is stored insecurely. So if ever that there are data from a previous hospitalization or previous medical history, it got leaked or it was not properly maintained, the system. So, it could be difficult and our medical privacy could be at risk. Solutions may not work for everyone. Yes, that's correct. A home automation assistant provides no audio output for visually impaired users. Um, that could be it. But there are also but I think there are new systems right now. Um, the doorbell, which it tells you who is at the front door. It tells you if it's a male or female, but it doesn't actually tell you who the person is, but it tells you if it's a male or female. And it even, you could even talk to uh, the person even if you're not at home. All right. So users must trust the complex system. So an AI based financial tool makes investment recommendations. What are they based on? And who is liable for AI driven decisions? So, for example, um, it happened that we tried to put in the system the criminal records, though it's quite sensitive information. And then there was this one person that he looks like a person who did some bad things in the previous years. So they have to get this person who looks similar, and then they just look similar, but it's not actually the exact person. So who would be liable for that kind of action? Will it be the engineer? Would it be the policeman? Or would it be us who are training the models? So, it's a difficult situation. It's a sensitive situation. So, um, I want to show you this, the five ethical risks of AI. So I know you could hear something at the background, and I could not. I'm sorry for that. Uh, So we have five ethical risks AI represents for Microsoft and other tech giants. So it doesn't really actually evolve in Microsoft alone. So let's, sorry, I've just used my hand. All right. So in AI, African Americans, gender and algorithmic bias. So we also have some culture or race biases in gender as well. So, as I said, as a previous example, that there could be a bias in gender or culture or race. So, if you put female there, but the model was trained only to get male for employment, perhaps for a loan approval, so all female would get rejected. Or if you put there that perhaps you're Asian, but that's a sensitive information, that's a sensitive situation. But it happens sometimes. So, um, because it's just only us humans who are doing or trading the models, so that could be at risk at times. And going down, we have criminal justice. This is what I was saying and talking about a while ago, that it's quite difficult to, or it's sensitive to put this in the judicial system, but possible. We have what we call I am not good with pronunciation, the geniali. So what they do is, in AI system, but it is usually in the West. All the victims or all the victims of the criminal, what they do is they get the samples, and whatever DNA was left there, they put it in the system, and um, they put it in the system and they attach it to this person. Now, if a same scenario happened to one person, then what they do is they go back to this person. So we got your similar DNA, we got the similar situation, so it could be you, right? So that is something sensitive and something challenging if we do that in the AI system, but it's been used in the US, so they check DNAs and people who would be able to, possible people who are related to this crime. However, it happened that in this criminal justice, it happened that there was one person. He said that in the algorithm said that he did this, he did a bad thing. So after a few years of trial, they found out that he was innocent. So that should be part of our responsibility in AI or how we train our models. So it's sensitive. So intelligent cameras, it could take some information from us. Sometimes that's why we put some cover under our screen. So that's part of the risk. Healthcare. So there are multiple studies reveal physicians and residents believe blacks feel less pain than whites. This is just like a study of how risky it would be, the risk the tech giants are facing in if we put AI in the healthcare system. So it's AI system are almost human. So there are some biases or some concerns in the AI system. But I believe that if we're honest enough, we would be able to move forward and use technology in a better way. And I hope you would agree with me with that. So next one, we have responsible AI. So as I said, that it's only us humans who are training the models, putting data into the system. So we must be able to face the following, right? Is it fair? So we should be fair. We should be reliable and safe in what we do. We should always think about the privacy and security. We should be inclusive. we should be transparent, and there should be accountability. So let me just click that. I'll just close this part. Let me go back. So we understand responsible AI. So this is also in Microsoft Learn. You could head onto it and read more. So for fairness, AI system should treat all people fairly. We don't depend on the gender or the race or the culture. And reliability and safety. AI system should be able to perform reliability and safety. So it should be autonomous, for example, in vehicles. Machine learning models should be trained properly, and it should also diagnose patient symptoms and recommend prescriptions correctly. Next one is privacy and security, where machine learning models on the AI system are based or purely rely on large volumes of data and which contains personal details that must be kept private, and it should not leak to anywhere. And we should also be inclusive. That means that our AI system should also include children who are has difficulty in reading or challenged learners, are differently able brothers and sisters, those who have some concerns in vision. In Microsoft, we have now the reading progress. It also helps our challenge readers to read correctly. So after the child will be able to read the text that was inside Microsoft Teams as an assignment, it was posted as an assignment. So the AI system is going to check the mispronounced words of the child or how many times the child um, mentioned or pronounced the words correctly or incorrectly. So that's part of our inclusivity in Microsoft. Next one, everything should be transparent and we should be fully aware of the purpose of the system, how it works, and what limitations may be expected. And who should be accountable? This is the challenging part. So people should be accountable for AI system, the designers and developers of AI-based solution. Uh, so everything that we do, someone should be accountable with that, and we face some legal concerns or ethical standards if ever we were not able to follow the rules that we need when we train our models. So everyone should be accountable with that. So if you want to learn more, uh, what is responsible AI resources, you could head on to this site and you could read more about the responsible AI and how we would apply it in our daily lives. So I think I'm more than an hour already. So basically, what we did is we just covered the fundamentals theories, the simple parts of Microsoft Azure AI fundamentals. If you want to pursue in having your certification, you could head on to Microsoft Learn and read, go over the course, getting started with Microsoft AI. If ever you have not taken your certification yet, it will really help you. With before I took my certification, all of this that I've shown you, this is just what I've studied, because everything is just based on the theory and everything is just based on Microsoft Learn. So let me check. All right. So that's it. I think that's about it. So thank you very much for having me. And thank you also for being patient and listening to me. It was just a simple presentation. I hope you were able to learn something, even with the quick presentation that I have. Fatima, I will give the floor back to you.
Yeah, thanks, Jade. It was such a wonderful presentation. I think all have got something from it. And if you're having any questions for Jade, please put it in the chat. And Jade, can you share those links which you have shared in the chat?
Sure. Can I just share my presentation so because all the links are there?
Yeah, yeah, sure.
And if ever you're going to take your certification, good luck. All you need is, just read and relax, because we could do this.
Yeah. And I have put a feedback form in chat. Please fill out before going.
Oh, I have it on the chat box. I think all of us could access the chat box, right?
Yeah. And for the further details of the event and the recordings, please join our Discord server. I'll put the Discord server link to in chat. Thank you, Jade.
Yeah, thank you very much. And thank you for having me, Fatima. And thank you everyone who is here. And I wish you all the best, and I wish you all greater success in life. Thank you very much.
Thank you. And thank you all the guys. Please fill out the feedback form and join the Discord server for the YouTube links of the webinar sessions and other upcoming events to know about.
All right. So thank you.
Thank you so much, ma'am.